going to bring up Crystal here, and she's going to be talking about secrets to fat loss, maintaining that fat loss, as well as exercises that can help that along.
My name is Crystal Kirby-Pelequin. I am the owner of CrossFit 204 and 204 Lifestyle. I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you about a subject that I'm super passionate about, fitness and nutrition. So I have been a very passionate fitness enthusiast my entire life. So I spent my youth running track and field. I played basketball at the university level, competed in triathlons. I've done a few fitness and physique competitions. And my true, I would say, passion is in performance sports and strength sports in particular. So I really love lifting heavy weights and putting them overhead, picking them up, squatting them, that kind of thing. I spend my time managing my two businesses. So I work one-on-one with nutrition clients, and I do a lot of personal training, and I coach the occasional CrossFit class as well. In terms of the goals that my clients have, it ranges from fat loss to gaining muscle, to improve confidence, to feel better, to feel more functional in their life. I'm working with a client right now who runs a daycare with 24 little kids running around all day. And a big thing for her was just to be able to feel well enough to chase after those kids. And of course, just improve her overall self-esteem. So I'm here to talk about the secret to fat loss. There really isn't a secret. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to focus on two things: nutrition and exercise, and sort of highlight the different aspects of nutrition and fitness that I think, and the combination of the two, that are really the perfect prescription to losing body fat, maintaining fat loss, and improving your overall health over time. So we'll get started with nutrition. First, I'll chat a little bit about the first element that I want to cover would be food quality. So when we're talking to clients about nutrition, we're going to break it down into two important factors: food quality and food quantity. So the quality, 80 to 90% of your intake should be, in my opinion, whole foods. So when we're talking about whole foods, we're looking at lean cuts of meat, so chicken, salmon, tuna, pretty much anything that you enjoy, pork tenderloin, that type of stuff, fresh veggies, fruits. Think about shopping the perimeter of your grocery store, essentially. Obviously, there are some good frozen and canned options, but when we're talking about food quality, that's kind of what we're referencing. You want to try to avoid those more refined foods, so anything that has like a really long ingredient list, especially the stuff that is marketed as organic or very, it comes in a package, but it's saying that it has certain attributes. I would still be wary of that. I'm not saying to completely eliminate it, because you're looking at doing, making choices that you can sustain, and some of those foods you enjoy. So you do have to find a way to include them, but the general sort of prescription that we'll give clients is that 80-20 split. So if you can make that the 20% in your diet, you're doing well there. A big piece of advice that I'll give clients is to prepare most of their food at home. So if there is something that, like one thing that you can fix, one thing that you can do a little bit better day to day, it would be to shop and buy your groceries and prepare 80% of your meals at home. That doesn't mean that you can't eat out at restaurants. You should. It's social. It's things that maybe you do with your husband or wife or your family. You enjoy it. But limiting it to once or twice a week is probably the best thing that you can do for your nutrition, because you can't really control what how the food is prepared, and you can't account for it the way you can account for your food at home. This is a big one, limiting alcohol when it comes to your fat loss. So I bring it up simply because it's one of the barriers that many of my clients have. Just in terms of the way our body metabolizes alcohol, it prioritizes calories from booze first. So, if you're someone that just loves to have your glass of red wine, and often for my clients, they come in and it's half a bottle or a bottle of red wine every night. It's really something you just kind of have to be honest with yourself about if that's sort of a red flag for you. We're going to use those calories first. They have zero nutritional value, and it's calorically dense. We're talking like almost as fattening as fat itself. It's 7 calories per gram of alcohol. So you can do quite a bit of damage. And then what really happens is the more we drink, or the more often we're drinking, we're just not making the best nutrition choices as a result, right? So I can speak to that myself. I've had a couple glasses of wine and then I want to have some snacks. And all of a sudden, calorically, I'm over and above what I require in terms of energy that day. And over time and repeatedly, that starts to work against our goals, obviously. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about here is just your food quantity. So this is where we can look at what we would call your energy requirement for the day. So we all individually have a different energy requirement. What I need in terms of calories is different from what you need in terms of calories. So in terms of trying to establish that, there's different things that are available to you. You can use online calculators. There are some pretty good ones out there in terms of accuracy. So it'll ask you for some biological information. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? What is your activity level, etc. And you can get a pretty good baseline there. You can also check in with a nutrition coach or a registered dietitian or someone who works in the field who can probably help you establish very accurately how much you require. And they're going to look at it a little more closely too. They're going to take into account your history. So to move forward with what you require in terms of energy, we have to know where you're coming from. So how much are you currently eating? What have you been doing for the last 6 months? Because we can't really set you up for success unless we know that. So Dr. Isler sort of touched on that when he mentioned how if you've been stuck at 500 calories for the last 6 months and nothing is changing, do you really want to go to 300? Is that really sustainable? And so this is where a nutrition coach will come in and they'll say, listen, it's time that we reverse those calories and we look at improving your food quality. We probably need to go back up a little bit before we can go back down and make progress. So if you've dabbled in that world at all, you've probably heard terms like reverse dieting and whatnot. Again, that is where we can help our clients. So this is something that I like to work with clients is just our plate model. So we do something pretty specific with clients. It's called macro tracking. You may have heard that term. So we look at protein, carbs, and fat, specifically how much does each client require for their goals, and then we help them work through barriers to sort of figure out how to source those foods based on what's their family eating. Is it realistic for them to cook dinner for themselves and then cook a separate meal, or are they batch cooking for the whole family? And that kind of thing. So again, we dive into some pretty specific stuff. So that's an option. But sometimes we come across clients who simply just don't have the time. It's not a good fit for them to be micromanaging every single thing that they eat. So the plate model is a beautiful thing. So we're looking at on your plate, half of it is vegetables. So broccoli is an excellent choice. Obviously, you don't have to choose broccoli. It can be any sort of vegetable. There is a wide range available to you, but we're looking at like cruciferous vegetables, leafy greens, sort of those better options. They take up a lot of space on your plate. We're talking about eating for volume, so you can get pretty full. Quarter of your plate, or 25%, should be starches. So that could be sweet potatoes, quinoa, rice, the sort of stuff that you might enjoy. And then 25% should be a lean protein. So I find that the plate model is an effective and actionable tool that clients can use, and it's easy, and it's one that you can do at home, and it's one you can do at a restaurant. So when you're trying to figure out what you should be ordering off the menu, the plate model. Big salad, lean cut of meat, dressing on the side. You're good to go. This is my dog, Heavy. That's why my pants are covered in dog hair. She has this look that, yeah, she's calling us on our BS, so to speak. So nutrition isn't complicated, is where I'm going with the slide. It's definitely not, it's not rocket science, but it's not always easy to navigate the information that is out there, because there is so much, and a lot of it is inaccurate, a lot of it is misrepresented, a lot of it is tied to products that people are trying to sell you that actually have nothing to do and will not help you in the long term, and improve your body composition and improve your overall health. So turn on your BS detectors. If it sounds miraculous, if it sounds like it's too good to be true, if it sounds like something that you cannot do for the rest of your life, it probably is BS, and Heavy would tell you that. This is a picture of a physique competition that I competed in a couple years ago. And I did not achieve this body composition through endless hours of cardio. I achieved it through weightlifting. So that's the next piece that I'm going to move on to, is the exercise piece. So how can we put nutrition and exercise together, and what is it that you should be doing? As I mentioned, I do have a bias, but my bias is also rooted in science. Weightlifting is good for you. And so in terms of like, if there's something that you can do to effectively change your body composition, if there's something that I would recommend, it would be to add strength training to your regime 3 to 4 times a week. And there's some really good reasons why. When we are lifting weights and we're eating appropriate levels of food, in particular, you're making sure that you have enough protein in your diet, you are adding lean body mass. So you're adding muscle to your frame. And I don't want you to get a picture of like a giant bodybuilder if that's not your thing. It's actually very difficult to gain muscle, okay? So to think that can happen by you just picking up a dumbbell, or you're gonna start squatting and you're gonna be, super duper muscular. If that's not your goal, don't worry. I wish it were that easy. But what happens is, even by just putting on a little bit of lean body mass, we improve our body's ability to burn calories. So people who are well muscled expend energy better than people who have not enough or inadequate levels of lean body mass, okay? So you become basically a calorie burning machine. Muscle is a tissue that is expensive to maintain for your body, so it requires food. So you start putting on lean body mass and your metabolism improves as a result, okay? So when you're thinking about improving your body composition and your health, don't always think of it as, I need to restrict and it needs to be less and less and less. It might be for a period of time that you need a little bit more of the good stuff combined with weightlifting to achieve your long-term goals. One of the things that, so as I said, 3 to 4 times a week, in terms of what exercises I would recommend, the biggest bang for your buck is those compound movements. So squats, lunges, deadlifts, and there are infinite ways that we can, or you can make these movements accessible for yourself. So if you're thinking like, well, I've got knee problems, I have problems with my hips, I have osteoarthritis in my spine, or anything like that, I can tell you, I work with a demographic of 55 plus athletes, and the oldest athlete in my gym is 80, and he's had both knees replaced, and he squats, and he runs, and he deadlifts, he does it all. So there really isn't anything that you can't do if you give yourself a chance and you work with the right trainer and you have that opportunity to make those improvements. So compound movements are definitely going to be the biggest bang for your buck. So as I mentioned, we're going to build and maintain muscle. As a result, you're going to protect the joints in your body with that muscle, prevent injuries. So, improving your core strength. If you're going to slip and fall and you have a nice strong core and you're regularly active and you're working out, you're going to protect yourself a little bit better. You're going to be able to pick up your groceries and pick up your children and toss them in your car. You know how to lift, you know how to set your core. So all of those things help. We're going to boost your metabolism. You're going to improve your bone strength and density. And of course, if you're into any type of sport, you're going to improve your sport performance as well. And then just as I mentioned, it doesn't necessarily mean that, am I going to get bulky and big and huge? No, certainly not. If that is not your goal, you're not going to have to worry about that. So then in terms of your fitness, where does cardio fit into all of this? I still think it's an important aspect of exercise. Again, once we've kind of looked at putting in those 3 to 4 days a week of some strength training, some functional movements, is cardio beneficial? Yes, absolutely it is. We're looking at improving your cardiovascular fitness, basically. So it's good for your heart. It's good for you to create the appropriate energy balance for yourself. So if you are trying to create a little bit of a caloric deficit by adding in a little bit of cardio, you can do that. I wouldn't say like endless hours of cardio to create that deficit, because at that point you're just stripping all that muscle off your body that you've worked so hard to put on to help improve your metabolism. So the right prescription is probably 3 to 4 times a week of weightlifting, and then, if you can include, 3 to 4 sessions in there of 30 to 60 minutes of some cardio, however you like. It could be, walking, it can be dance, it can be swimming, you name it. You're going to see some really great benefits there. And of course, it helps you manage your stress, and it can be a social thing for you as well. So your perfect prescription is really just that appropriate combination of smart, sustainable nutrition and movement that you enjoy and that you love and that you'll stick to. I think that's about it. I would just add, in terms of like other little things that you can do, one of the things that I encourage clients to look at is their non-exercise activity. So it's actually a pretty big part of expending energy and maintaining weight loss once you achieve it, is just what are you doing when you're not in the gym? So you're in the gym for maybe 30 to 60 minutes, a day, we'll say, or 3 or 4 times a week, but you've got 23 hours left in your day. So how you're managing your nutrition and your non-exercise activity are really important. So daily steps is I think a really easy one for you to manage. So just making sure that you're moving, that you're walking the dog, that you're parking a little further away from your job or the grocery store, and you're just getting in those extra steps, because all of that movement helps you work towards your goals. That is about it. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
What are your thoughts on yoga?
Yoga is excellent. I think that it's a great way to obviously stay supple and maintain great mobility and taking care of lengthening muscles. And obviously there are some great benefits in terms of just your mental and emotional health. And honestly, if that was where you were starting with exercise and adding in yoga 3 to 5 times a week, and that was that would be a great place to begin. And depending on the style of yoga, I know that there's certain, yin yoga, for example, I like to do because I just lie there and stretch. And so after, beating myself up all week, that's something that I would enjoy. Is it optimal in the long term? Probably you still want to look at adding in some of that sort of that weight bearing stuff, and then maybe just keeping the yoga in there to help again with mental emotional health, and just and you can certainly build some strong core and whatnot in yoga. So yeah, if that's what you're doing, that's great. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, sure.
What is your favorite fitness tracking app?
Fitness tracking app.
Whether it be on a device or cell phone or whatever.
Right. Well, I'm actually super old school, so I track my workouts in a book. I like to write them down. But I know, I use a food tracking app called My Macros Plus, and they have a app that allows you to track your workout called I think it's called My Workout. So you can certainly, there's so many apps available too these days that provide actual full training plans and allow you to track your results. But it does touch on something that I think is super valuable, in that you should track your fitness. If it's something that you're doing, track your results, track your, if you're getting stronger, if you're adding more weight, if you're taking more steps, if you're doing more cardio, all of that is really valuable.
Okay, one last question.
Sure.
Protein.
Yes.
What are your top 3, for meat, or non-meat, whatever?
Yeah. I can, yeah, for sure, I can speak to that. So I do eat meat. So if I'm looking at protein, I know that this is sort of one of those touchy subjects, and there's a lot of different information out there, but I'll source protein. My favorite source would be extra lean red meat. It has the best amino acid profile. So again, as someone who is heavy hitting in the gym and lifting a lot of weights, that's important to me. I don't supplement, so I'm Popeye's worst nightmare. I don't need to get anything from supplements. I'm gonna get it from food. And so again, that amino acid profile and just the overall protein that I'm gonna find in that extra lean meat, and be careful again, extra lean, keep the fat down, is my favorite. After that, I'm gonna go to chicken, and after that, I'm probably gonna go to eggs. So again, all really excellent options for you. And there are non-meat options. Again, you just have to be careful when you go into those non-meat options, because they're gonna be combo items. So you're gonna get protein from lentils, you're gonna get protein from your beans, but you're also gonna get a lot of carbs and fat. So you're just gonna wanna monitor that. Yeah. Thanks very much, I appreciate it.